Hey, so good afternoon or good morning. I'm not sure what time you're going to be watching this, but hey, so I wanted to do something a little bit different, and I wanted to do this one at work, so you guys can see a little bit. You got there's office window. There's one of my office windows that looks out into the warehouse. You'll see people traveling back and forth on various types of warehouse equipment and moving boxes, and there's some conveyors out there and packing materials. But I'll give you a quick show around of what I have here. Right there's my computer. Right, see, look, there's my Bible memory verse right there at the bottom, and then those are some notes that I have to myself. Right, got good old Ronald Reagan on the. I got good old Ronald Reagan on the far wall over there. There's my other window, goes out into the warehouse. All right, there is a board that Antoinette got me from her Christmas. It says, "Let your light shine before others," Matthew 5:16. Dry erase board. Currently, it contains all of my deepest thoughts. Not really. And then I have there is another poster. It's cool. It says, "I choose to live by choice, not by chance, to be motivated, not manipulated, to be useful, not used, to make changes, not excuse, to excel, not to compete." That's an important one. I choose to excel, not to compete. I choose self esteem, not self pity. I choose to listen to my inner voice, not the random opinions of others, right? And then I got a little refrigerator, coffee maker there, right? Pretty cool stuff. So that's my workspace at work. Thought you might dig seeing it a little bit, but so now we'll get on to the devotional. And this devotional is on responsibility, right? The thing everybody agonizes over. But I'll tell you that, especially, particularly in my line of work, and I can even say probably even in your mom and Sean's and Antoinette's line of work, responsibility also means also comes with a higher paycheck typically, right? If you're not willing to accept more responsibility, you're not going to progress in most workplaces. I'm sure there's some that you get away with not having more responsibility, but I'm hard pressed to think of them, right? So I wanted to be a manager, so I was able to take on more responsibility. I manage assets. Here we ship about $17 million annually in merchandise and sold product, and that's my responsibility, is shipping all that product, right? So the dictionary defines responsible as an adjective. If someone is responsible for something, he or she has to do it, and it is the person's fault if it goes wrong. Right? People always try to dissuade responsibility here. Oh, I'm a victim of this, or I'm a victim of that, or that person caused me to do this, or I did it because you did that. People have a hard time of just accepting responsibility for their mistakes, right? And the short thing of it is if you just accept responsibility, everybody can move on a whole lot sooner. But not accepting responsibility causes things to be a big, long, drawn out thing, and nobody likes that. The other definition is if a person is responsible, he or she is sensible and can be trusted. That is an awesome thing right there. He or she is sensible and can be trusted. All right, so something we recently trusted you both with is house keys, right? And what happens? If you remember, there was an incident where we lost a house key, right? And then we couldn't trust you with a house key for a while, but sooner or later, you regained the trust back and you got your house key back, right? I won't mention any names, Elena. I'm just kidding. So Genesis 3:12. The man said, "The woman you put here with me, she gave me some fruit from the tree and I ate it." If you remember back in Genesis, right, the fabled tale where they ate from the true tree of knowledge of right and wrong, or good and evil, and the serpent tricked Eve into eating the fruit from that tree, right? And then she gave it to Adam, right? Well, Adam tried to dodge the responsibility, and he was like, "God, it's your fault. It's your fault. You gave me that woman. The woman that you gave to me, she gave me the fruit, and I ate. It's not my fault. I didn't do it," right? But it was him. It was him. Matthew 25:23. His master replied, "Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with few things. I will put you in charge of many things." Come and share your master's happiness. Right now, people look at that master and they feel weird about it, right? Uh, Basically, they didn't have a word for employer or boss, right? So sometimes you hear bond servant or master or slave, right? And it's employee, it's associate, right? Now, in the PC culture, we call them team members, right? We call them team members here too. We're all team members, right? Because for some reason, people feel bad about being an employee, right? I don't. I feel pretty great about being an employee, right? Being an employee means that I get a paycheck that gets to pay for that house that God provided us, and God is this is God's paycheck. It's up to Him to direct me on how He wants me to spend it. It's His money, and it's all for His glory, right? So I don't feel bad at all about being an employee. It doesn't bother me one bit. So what this verse is saying is that, hey, share in my delight. Like, you succeeded. You proved that you were sensible and can be trusted. So here I will bestow you with more responsibility. It's like Joseph, right? He proved that he could read and write, and the Pharaoh was like, wow, I'm going to bring this dude into my castle, and I'm going to give him better responsibilities, more responsibilities. He was trusted. He proved it, right? He pleased him. His work was very pleasing. Romans 14:12. So then, each of us will give an account of himself to God, right? That of how you did with your responsibilities. I'm not sure what. There was a meeting. They had a meeting out there, so it must have been Good News Past or something, right? It's Friday, so they're probably asking for volunteers to go home, and I would volunteer. I want to go home, right? So people are volunteering. That's what it is. 1 Corinthians 4:2. Now it is required that those who have been given a trust must prove faithful. Right? Now, if I trust you with something, if I trust you with, hey, I want you to take care of your baby brother, right? And if you do a good job with it, then you've proven that I can trust you, right? That my trust wasn't misplaced. But if I trust you with your baby brother and I get home or something and you're playing Xbox or watching movies and your brother's like I don't know, juggling knives in the corner or something, that might be a problem. I've misplaced my trust, right? Hebrews 4:13. Nothing in all creation is hidden from God's sight. Everything is uncovered and laid bare before the eyes of Him to whom we must give account. If you think about it, like Elena, this past weekend you made slime, right? And it was like a really pretty pink color. And I was like, wow, oh my goodness, how did you make that? And you told me exactly in full detail how you did it, how many times you mix it in the bowl, how many times you had to poke it with the pink marker or highlighter to give it that really pretty pink color, right? You knew every detail about that slime. Well, God created everything, right? So He knows all the details too. He knows the emotions and the insecurities and the sensibilities that He bestowed in each of us. So it would make sense that He understands fully how we're going to behave in certain situations, right? Um, you and Alan and Eris are my children, right? And I've raised you, so I understand how you're going to behave in each situation. Well, God knows your innermost workings. So He even understands you even more, right? He understands that when it comes to His other creatures that He created, He understands that if you go and poke a bear with a stick, the bear's probably going to have something to do about it, right? So humans, they think, oh, why did that bear attack me? But God's like, well, dude, it's because it's a bear, right? So now that we understand what responsible is and we've read a couple verses that illustrate it to us in the Bible, there's a couple things here for discussion. Who is responsible for your actions, right? This is weird because the camera's facing me and I'm looking at myself on the screen. So I'm pointing at myself, right? You are responsible for your actions. So you're responsible for your actions. You're in control. No matter what situation you're in, you're the one thing that's common in every situation. No matter where you are, there you're at, right? You might have other variables that change. Variables are something that change given situation or other attributes, right? But if you're at school, it's you that's there. If you're at home, it's you that's there. All right? So you are in control and you are responsible for your actions forever. Okay? In light of Romans 14:12, does it do any good to shift blame to others? For example, read Genesis 3:12, right? So Romans 14:12, if you remember, was so then each of us will give account to himself to God, right? So it didn't do Adam any good to shift blame onto God in Genesis 3:12, right? We are accountable. Can anyone truly make you do anything or feel a certain way? Right? No, they can influence, but they can't make you, right? You have discernment. You're the one that needs to exercise caution in your actions and the things that you say. You're the one that can rebut. Even if you can't rebut something verbally, you can rebut it mentally in your head. You can decide whether you're going to be convinced of something or not. Okay? And just like I've told you before, you need to use what you know about every situation to discern whether something is believable or not. Okay? If you've looked up in the sky a million times and seen that the sky is blue, then you know through discernment that you can't believe it when somebody says that the sky is orange. Right? You need to take a look. There might be some crazy thing like an airplane crop dusting above you or something, right? There might be some really awesome sunset that's making the sky appear a different color, but you know through discernment that chances are it's still blue. Okay. All right. Well, I wanted to keep this short, but I also wanted to show you a little bit about where I work, and hopefully we can do this more, and maybe even do a video out in the warehouse. That'd be pretty cool. All right. I love you. I love you. I love you. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you soon. All right. Bye bye.